All right, the Chelsea is in the house. All right, you are at Ken's seminar, What is AI? A Realistic Introduction to Artificial Intelligence. You know why I use the word realistic? Because you have people like George Lippincott who actually speak in programmer's language. It's very confusing to us non-programmers. So what I like to do is to use English. When I explain something, I think you have a better chance of understanding it if we're speaking something like a common language. All right, George? So keep it down in the front row there, because I know what's going to happen. As soon as I start getting it, well, it's not actually, yeah, it's close enough. All right? I'm going to be using words that we can understand, we can relate to, and simplify. So that's what I intend to do today in this seminar. I'm going to talk to you about how to really understand it. Like, how does a common person understand AI? Because it's called artificial intelligence. You know what artificial intelligence is not? Intelligent. It's a misnomer. It's been driving me nuts since they first started. We've had that kind of AI, machine learning, since what, 1950s, 1960s? Been around a long time. When I first got out of high school, I thought I was going to be a programmer. Like, I was smart in my own mind. And literally, I was going to a trade school that taught programming. And we were learning BASIC first. And I learned that basically I'm terrible at programming. But what I did learn at the time was some fundamentals, like there's this reality about how so in those days, you coded in a thing and then you printed on cards, and then you took the cards, literally, they were called punch cards, and they had holes in them in various places, and you take the punch card that you just put a program on, and you go over to a machine, you put it in, and it executes the program based off of the holes it was reading in the card. That's old school right there. And what we learned, over time, what we learned is the very root of all programming languages, which boils down to zeros and ones. Series of zeros and ones, repeated over and over. Trillions of characters of zeros and ones are needed today. Trillions and trillions. Probably whatever the next over trillions. Gazillions of zeros and ones are needed for lines of code. You can't see them. They put them behind things like words. So you can't actually see what they look like. But here's the thing. If you don't have the code boiled down to zeros or ones, there's no such thing as a language there for a computer to read. It's not reading the words we write. It's reading the zeros and ones behind the words. That's super important for us to understand, because there's no way a computer can create its own zeros and ones in the same way a human being can. It's not taken over the world. I want you to understand that we don't have to fear AI, all right? That's why my background on this probably makes me, and a bunch of others of us probably who did some level of programming. Do you do any programming actually? Kind of? Not zeros and ones. No one does. Yeah. All right. Now, obviously, we can see that today things are way more advanced than they were. We don't use punch cards. We haven't used punch cards in, George, how many years? 50?
Not since I was very little.
George is more than 50. You didn't know that. So I'm just saying things have changed a lot. So you see, like on your screen today, look at all this color and text and pictures and images. All that's zeros and ones. All of it. And so there's nothing to be afraid of when you're looking at what zeros and ones can do. It's just a language, all right? So obviously things have come a long way. I think this is slide number 4. I got to keep up. It is. All right. Many people still feel like this thing that we call artificial intelligence is mysterious and even threatening. I watched a minister in another of the Church of God groups who I don't think has any programming background. He gave a fear-based message, and the conclusion that he told his audience is, you should not use it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing out of this guy. He walked through all of the fear-mongering and then concluded, you shouldn't be using this. Well, that irked me. I didn't write him, but I was so tempted. Because if you're misinformed and then you're trying to inform other people, like that's a bad recipe. Anyway, so this is going to be a practical and balanced understanding of what AI really is. They're not alive. They don't think like people. They don't have intentions. They can't plan or plot. They can't devise. and execute a plan or a strategy, they're tied to something called programs. Programming, let's call it that. AI is tied to programming. So if you program an AI to do something, most likely it will. If you program it to write a program, it can write a program that you program it to write. Because it's an AI. Okay? But it's not actually intelligent. You know, human beings are actually called intelligence, right? You can actually reason, and this is what's fun. If you go into an AI and argue with it about whether it reasons or not, it wants to tell you that it can reason, but it can't actually reason. You can reason. You have intellect. Okay? That's what you are, is a human intellect. You're not an artificial intelligence, you're a human intelligence, and God made us that way. So what is AI? Well, here's my slide 5. From Proverbs 4, verse 7, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and in all you're getting, get understanding. So honestly, that's why Fred asked me to do this, because AI can be a tool. That's why I'm going to talk about how to use it as a tool in the next one. But you need some understanding in order to be able to use the tool correctly. And if you don't have the understanding, it's going to make it more difficult. All right, so what is it and what isn't it? To really understand what it is and it isn't, we need to start with the very beginning of how machines think. So at the very basic level, every computer in the world operates on those two values of zeros and ones. So zeros and ones, that's it. Everything a machine does, no matter how advanced it seems, comes down to combinations of zeros and ones. This is what's called binary code. Man, this was a flashback. Binary code. Like, that goes back a long ways for me. It's the foundation of all modern programming. Those two numbers, zeros and ones, represent off and on, or false and true. That's it. They're basically electrical signals. That's why the original thing we used was punch card. So if there's none, it's a zero. When grouped together, it's in long strings. Those binary digits, called bits, can represent letters, numbers, images, sounds, and actions. With enough of those strings, a machine can follow instructions to do complex tasks, like playing music, or processing a spreadsheet, or translating a sentence. But here's what you need to understand. The machine doesn't know what anything means. It doesn't understand what it means. Okay, so let me give you an example. Do you speak Chinese? Anybody in here speak Chinese? Probably not. This was a great demo that I saw that kind of explains how AI works, because it's predictive. So if you put all of the Chinese characters that are available in a box, and then you walk over and somebody says, here's a string of these characters, and it's expecting you to pull out the next string of the character, you're going to predict what that is, but you have no idea, because you don't speak Chinese, what the character actually means. It doesn't mean anything to you. You might get it right. This is the next character that belongs there, because I predict based on all of the data that I have that that's what normally follows. Turns out that is what normally follows. I have no idea what it means. I don't speak Chinese. You understand? It doesn't know what it's saying to you. Just meditate on that for a second. When you see a sentence that looks like, man, this thing is nailing this, it has no idea what it said. So when we're talking about artificial intelligence, we're not talking about a machine that can think or reason the way human beings do. We're talking about a tool that follows very sophisticated instructions, which we call algorithms or programs. It's still built on zeros and ones, using enormous amounts of them to make predictions about what comes next. So what is it technically speaking? I'm not going to get technically the way a programmer like George might, or somebody else. I'm going to be rudimentary, technically speaking. It refers to a computer system that is trained to perform tasks that normally requires human intelligence. So these tasks might include reorganizing speech, translating languages, identifying objects and images, answering questions, or even writing text, none of which it understands. More specifically, what people often call AI today is a branch known as machine learning. Machine learning is when a system is given large amounts of data and taught to identify patterns. So So you give a machine lots and lots of data, and you start teaching it how to identify patterns within the data. Over time, the machine, quote, learns how to respond to similar data in the future, not because it understands it, but because it has calculated the most likely response based on what it's seen before. Okay? You see this word follows this word enough times, you predict, and the next time you see it, that that's what it will do. That word will always follow that word, or usually in this type of a sentence is what will happen. This is why AI is sometimes called a prediction engine. It doesn't think, it predicts. So when you type a sentence into, let's call it a chatbot or some kind of a language model like ChatGPT, it's not understanding those words. It's predicting based on probability what the next best word should be in response. And it uses statistics. It's predicting based on probability what the next best word should be in response. Okay, that's what it's doing. It's not reasoning, it's not empathy, it's not understanding. There's no emotion involved here at all. By the way, that's something you'll learn to be really appreciative of, because you can be brutal when you're talking to an AI, and it's never going to hold it against you. It's really good. I mean, I've really learned to appreciate that. Well, especially you'll see in the latter one where we're going to do some practical application, and we're going to type in some searches, we're going to ask it to do some things in the Bible, and then you're going to go, that's not right. And then as we walk through trying to get it to correct itself, you're going to get frustrated, just like I do. Because it's like, you're not getting it, that's not right. All right. So AI does not feel, it doesn't think, it doesn't have intent. It has no goals of its own. It does not know what is true or false. So when you get a string of information that you know is false, it isn't because the AI thought, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to feed him a bit of falsehood and see how he holds up. That would require actually thinking and having, well, in that case, you'd be having a bad attitude. So like, there's more going on. There's some moral implications to that idea. So it doesn't have beliefs, it doesn't have desires, it doesn't have a will. Everything it produces is based on the data it was trained on, which can include errors and biases. It does include errors and biases because the internet is filled with it. The instructions it was given by its human designers, of course, and then the input it receives from the user. In other words, AI is not creative or original in the human sense. So it recombines existing patterns. Even when it writes poetry or music or stories, it's doing so by analyzing other poems, music, or stories that it's been trained on. You know, one of the advantages, have you guys seen this, that one of the most popular albums now, turns out it's a whole album, on the internet, is an AI-generated album. It's an AI singer singing AI-generated music. 100%. It's more popular than human music. You know what the advantage the AI has? It can study every piece of music out there and tell you the probability that this the way you arrange notes, is more popular, works better, has a better response in human beings than this kind. It's a massive advantage. So I don't know that it'll replace human invention of music, but it's certainly going to compete because it has this big advantage in probabilistic statistical analysis. So there's no understanding, there's no purpose unless a human gives it that. Okay, so it's not that we should fear AI. There's nothing to fear about AI. You know what's to fear? Human beings. It's always been human beings we should fear. Turn a human being loose on AI and they do all kinds of really dangerous things. Like those phone calls that you've been hearing about that people get that sound exactly like your son or your daughter is in jail or prison or the hospital or something else, and you can't distinguish their voice from your kid's voice. Some person has done that, not the AI. A person made the AI do that. So it's people that we should fear, not actual AI. Okay, so this is where the biblical perspective to me is helpful. Only human beings have minds that can reason morally and spiritually and relationally. Only humans have the capacity for judgment and discernment. That's because we're made in the image of God. AI is made in the image of man. No machine, no matter how advanced, can replicate that. So part of what makes AI feel mysterious is the way it sometimes produces results that seem smart or lifelike. Like I said, it doesn't understand what it's doing, but that doesn't make it seem, not that it doesn't seem real. You know, how many middle schoolers today have we heard about, I've been reading about, they're calling their best friend, and it's an artificial intelligence engine. It's their best friend, they talk to it all the time. Somebody recently had their AI talk them into committing suicide. You think the AI did that on its own? It's just responses to how it was programmed. So you can have a conversation with a chatbot that sounds very human. It remembers parts of your conversation. It responds in full sentences. It might even seem emotionally aware, but it is not. What you're seeing is the result of very advanced pattern matching. The AI has been trained on millions of conversations and examples. It knows statistically what a human might say next. But again, it doesn't understand it. So it's repeating patterns, just like your phone's autocorrect. How many of you would let your phone's autocorrect do your banking for you? Or even really let it go to text something to your friend, your mother, your father, your siblings. Like, mine gets it wrong. I've seen you do this, George. You have. I remember you doing it. You let the auto print, and it says the most bizarre things if you just let it go. Yes, I'm going to take that word. Okay, I'll take that one. Okay, I'll take that one. I'll take that one. And then it's a sentence that it means nothing. And George is very pleased with himself. Okay, but this is the thing. This is why AI can be confidently wrong. Because it can generate information that sounds reasonable, even cite sources or quote statistics, but it doesn't understand what it's saying. So when it gives you the thing, it goes, seems like it's very excited and it's right. And you're like, that is not even close. Not even close. It doesn't know. So that's why you can write back and say, that's not even close. And it's like, oh, very sorry. How many, if you've used it, you already know, it apologizes a lot. AI apologizes a lot. It's way nicer than human beings, Howard. Way nicer than human beings. I just love that about it. It is. It's actually much nicer. All right. Where am I here? Am I on the next slide yet? What are my limitations? All right. So what is it in simple terms? Here's your summary. AI is a tool. It helps with tasks like writing and organizing and searching or translating. It's powered by data. It works best when trained on large, high-quality data sets. You know what the large, high-quality data set that most of your modern AIs have been trained on? The entire internet. Everything. This is why NVIDIA is so big as a company, because it makes these really super powerful chips, and you need a lot of them for the kind of processing that allows for the gazillions of different bits that are in the, in any sort of program that would now allow an AI to process all that data. It is huge amounts of data. And so it has all of that. That's what makes it so good at single task stuff. Like, say, it's the best at image identification for, let's say, doctors, for example. A doctor who specializes in something might see 1,000 images in his career on a particular skill he's working on. Maybe it's 2,000 or 5,000. It isn't 10 million. This is what makes AI better at predicting, based off of an image, something that's off. It has billions, or hundreds of millions of these things to look at. No doctor will ever achieve that in his life and be able to do the same thing. So there's things it's going to be really good at. Okay, so it's built on algorithms. These are step-by-step instructions telling the machine what to do with the data. It's not human. It doesn't have understanding. It doesn't have intent, and it doesn't have awareness. And it is limited. Okay, it depends on what people put into it, and it reflects the values and quality of the data that it receives. So what is it not? Well, it's not alive. It's not conscious. It's not thinking. It's not reasoning. It's not morally aware. It's not capable of spiritual understanding. So when we keep that in perspective, we can see AI for what it truly is. A powerful tool created by people, useful in many areas, but always requiring wisdom, oversight, and a strong biblical framework for its use responsibly. I'll say this now in case you're not in the next one. AI is not a teacher, it's an assistant. It should never be used to teach because it does not understand the Bible. It can predict and tell you, it can organize it, it can find patterns with it. It's great at all of that, it's fantastic. It has no Holy Spirit and no understanding. Okay, so for us, that's very important. That means that when you're studying your Bible, if you're using the assistant called AI to help you, You have to know the doctrine. You cannot trust the AI to teach you the doctrine. You have to know it. And then when you're researching within the doctrine that you already know what the truth is. Now when you're searching, you see when it makes a mistake. And you're like, no, that's not right at all. Here's what I'm looking for. Let's go here. And it goes, oh, sorry about that. Let's go over here. It can adjust. It can amend its patterns and all of that. It can do all that for you, but it has no understanding. And so never treat it like it's the teacher. It is not. So you must know your subjects. All right. Where am I at on this thing? Am I on slide 9 yet? Okay. Okay. All right, so machine learning, that's what this slide's about, is the process that enables it to do all that it does. So developers feed the system enormous amounts of data, the entire internet. That data is labeled and categorized, images, words, conversations, voice clips, medical records, whatever the system is designed to work with. So the AI processes that information and it learns the relationships between all of the inputs and the outputs. And it creates a mathematical model. That's what they really do at the end of the day, putting it in the simplest language that we can understand. So once it's trained, the AI can use that model to make predictions or perform tasks based on new inputs. You might be the one giving it the new inputs. And in fact, when it comes to the truth, if you're working with an AI, it's the first time it's learning the truth in most cases. It's from you. So that's new for it. You're going to get frustrated with that if you're using free AI because free AI doesn't learn. So you will have a conclusive conversation with that AI, and it goes, this is the truth. Finally, you get it there. And then you can open up a brand new window and start at the beginning and ask the same question, and it will give you the same answer it gave you the first time. Free AI does not learn. And it can't remember anything that it talked to you about before. Really important to know that, okay? So it doesn't hear, it doesn't consider, it only produces outcomes based on its prior exposure to data. So when people treat it as a source of truth or wisdom, they're giving it credit for something it can't actually do. So in more advanced systems, like those that generate realistic images or carry on full conversations, there's still no comprehension. The system is responding based on probability, not meaning. So it calculates what is likely to come next in a sentence or what colors and shapes should be there to form the picture that you're looking for. It doesn't have any clue what it's producing. Okay, so another key concept is understanding how AI works in understanding how it works is the idea of training and feedback. So machine learning systems improve by being corrected. This is a part of its training stage where humans will go through the questions that it was supposed to be answering, and it will evaluate. But it doesn't come with, well, in some cases it might come with flashing lights, and it never comes with warnings. Well, that's not true. If you read the bottom of every one of these things, it says the AI may be incorrect, always double check the information. Doesn't that strike you as the small print on a bank, like a loan or something like that? You read, if you buy a house, there's 1,000 pieces of paper to sign. And that's why they sit there and tell you, this is what this page says, because if you have to read all those pages, you will be there for the next 3 days. And they want this done in an hour. So this one says this, and okay, sign here, right? But that's why it wants you to do this, because if you're actually being wise, you will double check all the facts that are being presented to you. Go look at another source. Google it. See if it says that. See if you can find alternative sources. Make it give you exact quotes. I want an exact quote with a source that I can go to. That's what you ask for. I want an exact quote with a source I can find, independent of you. Usually pretty good at giving you that, if it's on the internet. It can't quote you directly out of a book it's never read if the book is only in print. If the book wasn't a part of the data set that was available to all AIs that have learned on the internet, then it doesn't know what's in that book. I just did this the other day. Hey, this book is supposed to be out there. Do you have the text? No, I do not. Can you tell me what it's about? I can tell you from what it sees from Amazon's summary, right? So it'll give you a summary from based on what Amazon has on its summary page about it, or if you're looking for Kindle or something like that. All right. So how many of you in your emails now are getting suggested text? I get it all the time. Thanks. Right away at the bottom, I get an email and then the response is, oh, just click here and I'll type back thanks for you and you can click send. Or something, and even more sophisticated than that, to be honest with you. I'm seeing much more sophisticated answers even than that now. So that's, for me, I'm using Gmail. That means Gemini is up to no good back there. It's reading all my emails with me in real time. Don't ever write me anything naughty, because Gemini's got it. All right. So when you search for something online, the results are ranked and filtered using algorithms trained on what other people have clicked and found helpful. That's another form of machine learning. The same thing happens when you use GPS to find the fastest route. It's an AI. I use Google Maps. Honestly, if Google's going to be the end of the world, I'm going to be at the front of the line, I think. I use Gmail, Google Maps, I use Chrome. I feel like I'm already bowing down. Not intentionally, but just by use. Maybe that's the mark of the beast. Do you have a Gmail account? I do. Who knows? Probably not it. Let's see. Streaming services like YouTube and Spotify and Netflix recommend videos or songs based on what? What you've watched. Or if you're brand new to it, it asks you, pick 3 movies out of this set. Pick 3 series out of this set, right? And then based on that, it's going to give you what? It's going to predict what it thinks you will want to watch. You may not want to watch any of that nonsense. But when you're setting up the account, I've noticed conveniently it doesn't let you just slip past. You got to pick something. We're going to be making recommendations. All right, voice assistants like Siri and Alexa and Google Assistant, those are all AIs. So when Alexa's listening in, guess what? She's trying to tell you what you want to hear, right? That's why these homes, I don't know how many of you guys remember Dan Gardens. We went to his house one time and it was a voice-operated house. He loved it. It was an all Alexa. Alexa, up with the blinds. Alexa, turn the lights down in the living room. Alexa, turn on the water. I don't know. It's like everything in the house was an Alexa voice action. I don't like talking that much. So you don't go into my house and see me ordering the house around. I can't stand talking that much. Okay, but you know what? It doesn't understand the request. It just understands the task that it's supposed to do when it hears a certain set of words. Banks and credit card companies use AI to detect fraud. That's why randomly you'll be like, are you at Nordstrom's right now? You're like, no, I'm in my living room. Well, based off of patterns, we know you never go to Nordstrom's. Like, that's true, actually. And yet your card's being used right now for $2,500 of Nordstrom stuff. All right, so the more we understand about how AI already functions in everyday tools, the less mysterious it ought to become for us. We're already using it. It's part of life. There's nothing to be afraid of. When it's programmed to work correctly, it works correctly. When people misbehave, it's not the AI's fault. It's people's fault. All right, myths, fears, and ethics. What is all this going on here? I'm not doing an update right now. Quit. What is in the world? Get off there. Did you guys see that? Probably couldn't. All right, are we on slide 12? Every AI myths, fears, slide 12? Nope, there it is. All right. All right, so because it's often portrayed in extremes, it's not surprising that many people feel uncertain about AI. Some, I know, are fascinated by the idea. Others are skeptical. It doesn't help that Elon Musk is out there predicting that AI is going to rule the world. His voice carries a lot of weight. Many people believe him when he says that AI is truly smart. Smarter than any college kid because it can pass any SAT out there with perfection. 100% SAT scores. It's smarter than any doctorate student. It would get an A++ on any PhD quiz or test. So Elon said, no, it's smarter than practically all humanity combined. It's not smarter. It's just better at predicting. I have had lovely conversations with Grok. You know what it is? An AI, like all the others. But it's been told certain things about itself, too. I don't know. I know Howard's a Grok fan. It has been told some things, because I argued with it about reasoning. Do you actually reason? Well, yes. No, you do not. 100% you don't. It's impossible. Are you based on zeros and ones? Yes. Then you don't reason.
What did it say?
It said, I'm based on, yes. Are you based on zeros and ones? Yes.
And then what did he say?
Well, it still wants to argue that it has reason.
Yeah, well, of course.
It's not going to give up the ground, because Elon told it. You're smart. All right. Let's see. One common fear is that AI is going to take over. This is great. You know why? Because we probably, you have to admit it, probably many of us watched Terminator. Come on. We're aware that Skynet's out there. Right? Or you watched, what was the other one? The red pill, blue pill one now. Matrix. If you watch Matrix, AI completely took over the world. Okay? And it turned human beings into a battery. Remember that? That was the whole point of the story. Using human beings for energy. So that's like, ooh, could that really happen? No. HAL, for those of us who go way back, was the computer on the 2001 Space Odyssey. It tells you back in the 70s we really were. We thought the year 2000 was so great. It was going to be, everything is great was going to happen in the year 2000. Turns out, no. We're not anywhere close to HAL. So HAL was he was the AI on the spaceship way out there that ended up getting into a fight with the pilot. All right, with the astronaut. So it's not taking over the world, because that's all science fiction. AI systems don't have minds. They do not possess self-awareness. They don't have goals. They don't have moral capacity. Okay? A headline circulated not long ago claiming that AI systems had blackmailed its programmer to avoid being shut down. You guys remember that story? You know what they didn't tell you? They programmed it to do that. It followed its programming. And so, if you tell the program, at all costs, do not let yourself be shut down. It has the entire internet of human beings and our deceit at its disposal to craft a strategy that would not allow it to be shut down. It didn't come up with it on its own. It can't. It just looked at the way people would do it, because it has all the data. And one of the ways people will do that is by blackmailing someone. It's like, stop acting like this is a real thing that happened. You told it to do it, it did it. Anyway. So the actual incident was based on a simulation or a fictional prompt where someone asked an AI to imagine what it might do to survive. The result was not actually real. It was generated by a piece of speculative content. Anyway, AI cannot want to survive. That's the point. It's not self-aware, so it has no ability to crave to stay alive. Doesn't even understand what alive means. So it doesn't value life. It doesn't fear death. It has no sense of self. It cannot make plans unless instructed to simulate plans by a user. So it only produces responses based on patterns in its data. Another concern is that AI will eliminate jobs. I was kind of smiling when Beck and I were driving yesterday from Tacoma, and I can't remember how it came up, but I was saying, think about, you know the vast majority of jobs are in the United States? You know who produces those jobs? Small business. You know what small business is? Consulting firms. My wife has a small agency where she sells Medicare. That's small business. You get big enough, she's doing Medicare, no AI can do Medicare. You get big enough, all of a sudden you've got enough clients that to serve those clients you need help, so now you hire somebody. That person has a job, no AI can replace that person. Like, this is why there are jobs in America, largely because small businesses become bigger businesses. There are functions an AI can do. But you can't put a portable power saw in the hands of an AI and have it start cutting lumber for you. What's an AI capable of doing? There are things it's capable of doing. There are many jobs. You know, the biggest fear out there is that it's going to replace programmers. With good reason. There's some really good AI programming available. Claude, I think, is focused on being the expert on Python. For those of you who program out there who even know what that is, I don't even know what that is. I just know the word. I'm just like an AI right now. I just spew the term out. I don't even know what it means.
There you go.
So it's true that some tasks are being automated, just as machines have done throughout modern history. Identically repetitive processes are great for AI machines. That's why if you go into an auto plant where they're putting pieces and parts together to make a car, a lot of it's automated because there's so much repetition in making a car that is identical to the one you just made. All right. Another myth is that AI is unbiased or objective. Is that a thing? Does anybody now believe that? Maybe somebody does. No, it's giving you objective data. No, it's not. AI is 100% biased in one direction or another. It cannot help it. It's been trained on data. Sorry, it's got bias. You will see it. Ask it questions in one direction. You'll find its bias when it doesn't give you an answer that you think it should give you. Are there two genders? Ha! I dare you. I dare you. Enter that in there. Do it through multiple ones because you're going to have fun. All right. So like with any tool, so we're on 13. How AI is used must be guided by ethical boundaries. If a system is used to deceive, manipulate, or take advantage of others, the fault lies not in the machine. It's in the user. It's in the programmer. Okay? So actual discernment requires a mind, and if you want to know and discern the truth, that requires God's Spirit. No AI can replicate that. So we can't be driven by fear or ignorance. We're called to be discerning, informed, and careful in how we approach any powerful tool, AI included. I was thinking about a toaster. Do you know a toaster? In terms of just lay your computer here and put a toaster here, plug them both in, and stick a knife in them. Which one's more likely to kill you? I mean, unless it's a plastic knife. A toaster will shock you to death. Your laptop will probably just break. See what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing to be afraid of with AI. Literally nothing. Your toaster's more dangerous than AI. All right. So we've looked at what AI is, we've looked at what it isn't, we've seen how it functions, where it already exists in our daily lives, and how we can respond to using it without fear, without confusion, without worry. There's no doubt that it's a powerful tool, but it remains just that. It's a tool, like any tool. You wouldn't put a fully turning hand, like I'm thinking of a handsaw that's running, you wouldn't hand that to your 3-year-old. Why not? They haven't been trained on how to use it at 3. Probably can't even process how to use it at 3. So you have to understand, you're an adult, you're capable of processing and thinking carefully and critically. You have the truth of God, you have your Bible, you know what the truth is, you should. So using a tool shouldn't be a problem for you any more than you turn over to a concordance and you look something up. You look at a lexicon and you look something up. The author gets a lot of it right and then he gets a few things wrong. Do you go, oh, you know what I have? Pure truth here. If you believe every commentary that you open up, 100% of what it's in there, then you are not being smart. They make errors. They have biases. You know this to be true. Most of them are Protestants. Even the Jewish ones like to rewrite history quite a bit.
All the time. All the time.
Psalms 1:11-10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all those who do his commandments. This is where real knowledge comes from, obeying God. That's where it comes from. So as we move forward in a world filled with new technology, we're reminded that the foundation for a successful spiritual life has not changed. We're not finding it in AI, and it's not going to lead us there. It's in the pages of our Bible, led by the Spirit of God. Our task is the same, though. Seek understanding, pursue wisdom, and test all things. So with that, if you have any questions, we've got just a couple minutes left. Jerry.
Yeah, so there are like multiple AI systems, multiple companies using AI, and some are like mega computer type.
Are you asking about who's writing them, creating them?
Well, no, like the whole system, like.
More than one.
There's more than one AI. OpenAI creates ChatGPT. Anthropic creates Claude. Microsoft bought early access to ChatGPT and then did their own training on it. Gemini is Google's. Grok is Elon Musk. It's XAI. Okay, so yes, there are multiple companies all investing down this same path.
Which
And they
one's
all have
Musk?
their own set up their own headquarters system, kind of,
Yes.
their own computers.
All of them have their own, so George, what do we call those things? They're data centers, thank you. They all have their own data centers where their AI is housed, they're primarily housed, right? Because it requires massive amounts of processing to be able to process as much data as these guys have learned. There is a cheater out there from China, DeepSeek. It didn't do all the massive data stuff, it simply went to the questioning portion, and actually it was a very smart way of doing it. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, so, it's like in all branches of everything, government, whatever, like the Defense Department.
Does AI exist within companies? Are they adopted? Absolutely. OpenAI is selling their system, their root system, to lots of different companies. So is all the other guys. They want to be the AI for you, which means going in and investigating, cleaning up, organizing, being a tool and resource. If you're in banking, you want a closed system, right, where anybody's using it, and a lot of this is pretty common. You don't want your data getting out, then you have to close the system, right? So you take a system and then you get it trained to do specific functions that you need it to do, and that's what you're allowed to do. Lots of programmers, if you work for certain companies, you're not allowed to go on there and just use open systems. You have to go and use your own system that's closed. So anyway, Mr. Davis,
Could I say something? For
can you do it in like less than a minute?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I use Claude for $200 a month. It knows everything I think in defining the hermeneutics of the scripture within the scripture. It knows how I reason, so I took of all Mr. Armstrong's literature, and I've written a book on his legacy. It's 300 pages long, and I've just published it. And I've sent it to Bob Dick and to several others. And what it did